that's not necessary. It's not necessary. Hey everyone, welcome to Mission Stories. My name is Troy, and I'm here again with Lyndon Nag. Liz, how are you doing, Lyndon?
Hello, everyone.
We're back. We're at it. How long has it been? 4 months?
I feel like I haven't seen you since the summer.
I know. It's seasons pass, and then we reconvene.
Yeah.
So much has happened. We didn't do conference this time.
Yeah.
Which is like, I don't know what happened. We just sort of like, we were just like,
Well,
people have heard this.
I've had a rough schedule.
That's right. You have.
I'm on a evening shift rotation.
You've been doing the school, and you've been providing for wife and baby. You have a child?
No, that's incorrect.
Okay.
I mean, it's been that long.
Is there one on the way or what?
No.
Is there a big announcement to make?
What did my mother said at Thanksgiving that she's like, this time next year you'll have a 3-month-old.
I like how your mom goes for the the Hail Mary predictions. You know, she's all about the like, I'm going to predict a thing and see if it comes true. Yeah. Yeah. And that did. So this one in particular did not come true, the 3-month-old.
Well, we still have.
So that was at last Thanksgiving.
No, this Thanksgiving.
This Thanksgiving. Okay, so it could still be.
Yeah.
Are we shooting for that? I like how I'm a part of this.
Is that the goal?
So we
want a 3-month-old?
Have we decided that?
By Thanksgiving next year.
Yeah.
Hey, time will tell.
Okay. Well, keep me up to date on that.
Will do.
I want to know how that's progressing, how that's going.
Yeah.
I'm looking at the 3x2 Reese cups you brought me on the the coffee table here, and boy, are they tempting. It is Halloween today.
Oh yeah, it is. I forgot about that.
It's October 31st. Do you have any plans for Satan's holiday? Lucifer's Day.
No, it's the Day of the Dead.
It's Dia de las Muertes.
And the dead belong to Jesus.
Jesus, they belong to you.
Not Satan.
That's a good little tune.
No plans. I actually have schoolwork I got to do.
Lame.
Yeah, some assignments. I have readings that apparently I'm required to do. I think today's the last day I have to get them done.
Okay.
For like a work requirement. I don't know.
What do you mean a work requirement?
Like AHS. AHS is like you have to complete these readings by October 31st.
Or you're fired.
Or you're fired.
We'll never let you work again. Bunch of bull crap.
Sounds
like. These guys sound like a bunch of sticklers, man. You sure you want to work for these guys?
Of course I do.
Oh, boy.
As a regulated member of the Medical Laboratory Society, I am not allowed to not promote.
Besmirch.
They will kick me out and sue me, like that poor nurse in Saskatchewan.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah.
Nurses in Saskatchewan getting sued. For what?
She complained about the hospice nurses that were taking care of her father, and she is also a nurse. And so, like, the Nurses Society was like, you put that on Facebook, now you're getting sued.
Is it a little bit like the mafia?
No, of course not.
No. You're like, what's the mafia?
Yeah.
There is no mafia.
I know they went to court.
Omerta.
Because she was like, this is an infringement on my freedom of speech. I don't know. I think they just like dropped it because they were going to fine her like $5,000 for that Facebook post. And she's like, I didn't even name names.
Yeah.
But, it's Saskatchewan.
It's the image.
There's like 2 hospice nurses in the entire province. So they're like, we know who you're talking about.
Debbie and Brenda are really upset about that post.
We're like,
the hospice nurses.
The only ones in the province. So they're like, nice one, Tammy.
Tammy, Brenda, and the other one, Debbie.
It's a real thing. So
okay, be careful.
If I ever complain about being a medical laboratory technologist, they're going to be like, that doesn't sound like promoting the profession, Lyndon.
They pull you aside and make you drink dirty blood.
Yeah. They're like, you're on mouth pipetting duty for a month.
That's your punishment. Drink the dirty blood.
I'm like, no, please.
Clean blood, please.
They're like, forget it.
Fine. Clean blood for you then. Man, well, I'm sure it's not as bad as all that. I've had my blood taken. It seems like a very wait, that's not what you do though.
Not exactly.
blood.
I will.
You're analyzing.
Yeah, I will have to do blood collections for 1 week in March.
Okay.
And then I will probably never do another blood collection the rest of my career.
Huh.
Is usually how that goes.
Why is that? Is that like a specialized thing people?
Usually medical
Go
lab
into for?
assistants do phlebotomy, blood drawing, and lab techs don't.
Yeah.
But if you're in like a really small rural lab, you might have to.
And that's your... Is that your plan to go for the rural lab?
Yeah, maybe.
The old rural lab, man. You'll be the only rural lab technician in Manitoba.
Nah.
Can you imagine living in Manitoba?
I can't imagine.
Well,
I assume it's just like
used to that idea.
frigid and people steal your car every 60 seconds.
Yeah.
That's the only thing I've heard about Manitoba.
I heard they got a lot of moose.
Yeah, a car is stolen every minute in Manitoba.
Cars stolen and hearts won.
All right.
So you got no plans other than to be a good student and a good representative of Alberta Health Services.
Yes.
Well, what's my plan? I want to watch a scary movie.
Oh.
I don't know which one.
You're going to watch a scary movie with a girl?
I have no plan to do that. I probably will just be by myself. I'll be scared and alone. And that'll be my horror channel that I'm starting. Scared and alone.
Oh, yeah.
Got embarrassed and cold for the funny. Scared and alone for the
Oh, yeah.
scary.
That's why we don't do podcasts anymore.
I'm too busy.
Troy's too busy with his sketch comedy thing.
Yeah, I was quite busy for like August, September, and boy, oh boy, did that kind of wear me a little thin. It was week after week.
You made a lot of sketches.
Yeah, but it was good because, I mean, the weather's nice right now, so maybe all that was for nothing. But the idea was to make the outdoor stuff while we could still reasonably be outdoors.
Mm-hmm.
And surely, I'm sure, you could definitely say that the weather is a little unpredictable in Calgary these days.
Yeah, we had like a historically cold week in October.
Yeah.
Where they're like, it hasn't been this cold in 80 years.
Huh.
And it's just like, why?
Why?
And now it's back to, sunshine and we're getting ready to go play pickleball outside,
Have you seen the new Borat movie?
I did see it.
What did you think of it? I saw it too.
It didn't have the same novelty and appeal as the first one because it's kind of like Borat's now a known.
Yeah.
But the finale, the climax of the film with old Rudy Giuliani, and I was like, bravo that he pulled that off.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, it was like shocking and cringy. Not funny, but it was like shocking and cringy. And do you think he was sticking his hand down his pants for any other reason besides tucking his shirt in?
Rudy?
Yeah.
No, I think he might have been tucking his shirt in. It looks like he might have thought that he was going to get some action from this reporter.
Yeah, I think that's where it was definitely headed. And what do you think? Because he stopped it. He ran in right as like the hand was going. Actually, who knows though, right? Like, who knows exactly what transpired and what they edited together and.
Yeah, I mean, they did say that his like security guy swept the room. And Sacha Baron Cohen was locked in this wardrobe.
Yeah.
So he's hiding in there.
Can you imagine? That's so crazy. Yeah, I thought the movie was like, there were some definite funny parts. It's hard in this day and age to imagine that a lot of these people didn't like kind of learn or know at some point that this was like a movie that they were going to be in. So it's like, it's hard to like think like, is this like a real thing or is it staged? Is it fake? obviously they would know that there's like cameras all around them, so they know at least that.
Well, yeah, like the article, like the babysitter person was like, I thought this person was like being trafficked.
Yeah.
And they're like, there was a documentary about helping this girl. She's like, I was bamboozled and I'm a nice person.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's kind of true. For that reason.
They obviously know that they're being filmed, but they think they're being filmed for another reason.
I guess. Yeah, I've seen some pretty scathing takes on this movie and Sacha Baron Cohen and how it's like he's like this British guy coming to America and just like clowning everybody, like, ha ha, look at these stupid idiots. Like, what if he went to I was watching Andrew Schultz, this comedian. He was talking about this. Like, what if he went to India? What if he went to, like, literally any other, like, country and was just like, look how stupid and dumb these people are.
Yeah, I mean, like, he's clowning on Saudi Arabia a lot.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's just like, why don't you go do that in Saudi Arabia?
Yeah.
Because, you can do that in America and they won't kill you.
Well, I saw some like extra footage they had not released previously where like it was one of the time, like apparently they went to a few protests and set up a stage and did that song that he does. And he did one in like Portland, Oregon. And it got like really violent, I guess, and they were like rushing the stage and there's like footage of him like in the back of this. It looked like an ambulance, actually. And he's, like, holding the door shut. And he's, like, broken character completely. He's just like, drive away. Like, back in his British accent. So that was pretty crazy. They were, like, ready to... He puts himself in harm's way, for sure.
Yeah.
And there's something... It's the thing that has always been entertaining about it is the ballsiness of it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. In the first Borat, literally, the ballsiness of it.
Yeah, that's right. So anyway, I don't know. What do you rate it? 3 out of 5?
Yeah, sure.
I'm going to give it a 3. It's okay. It's like, and then at the very end, they're like, vote. I'm like, oh, yeah. Come on.
Where it's like, if you're watching this film and you like it, it means you hate these people we make fun of.
Not that I hate voting, but I just hate, being hit over the head with politicized content, you know?
Yeah, especially, you said, from a British guy that can't vote in the American election. Yeah. But it's like, please vote in the American election.
Yeah.
It's like, will do, Sasha.
Yeah, okay. Like, I just wanted to laugh. Like, what happened to just laughing? You know what I mean? Like, what happened to just anarchic, chaotic, laughing for the sake of laughing comedy?
Yeah, I remember.
What happened to that?
I remember the first Borat wasn't that political.
No.
Like, he still has, his angle.
Sure.
He's he kind of wants these, redneck Republican Americans to look foolish or whatever.
Yeah.
But it's he really doubled down.
Oh, it was so. Plus, it's like the strategic timing of the release of the film and everything, and it's so. I don't know. It was. Listen, I don't obviously vote, participate in whatever. But I don't know. It's just the comedy. I feel like comedy is being hijacked as this is something more than it maybe should be. I've heard this argument that Jon Stewart ruined comedy because for the reason that he was just so good at combining this he made the news and politics so funny. He did it in such a good way. And no one has really been able to do it as good as he did it since then, even though that's what so many people try to do.
Well, I think the Colbert Report was pretty close because that one hit a different note.
Yeah.
Where he's in character as a parody of Bill O'Reilly.
Yeah, yeah.
So I remember conservatives loved the Colbert Report because he's this Catholic and he's making fun of the Democrats.
Yeah.
But in a way that when Democrats listen to it, they're like, it's a parody.
Yeah.
And he really believes what we believe. And the conservatives are like, oh, yeah, give it to him.
Yeah, they're both. And in a way, it kind of felt like it was cutting both ways, and I think that's why it was so. That show was so good. Like, I love when, and I think this is just like, when comedy is good, it has no favorites. It has no sides. It is anarchy. It's like, we're gonna take out these guys, but also these guys. And you're right. I think it did. It cut both ways in a very smart way. That show. Yeah. Also,
but now he's
Daily
like,
Show. Jon Stewart, same thing.
Yeah, like he had an angle, and so he would give it to anyone that was like against his angle.
Yeah, the angle was like, do you make sense? Are you foolish? And if you are, you're gonna get the wrath.
Yeah,
no matter what side of the aisle you were on, which is not what it's like anymore. It's not. That's unfortunate. No. People are very entrenched in their sides. Yeah,
because then it's like Stephen Colbert does. What's his Late Show? Whichever late show that it's called.
The Late Tonight. I don't know.
The Tonight Show.
This Evening Show.
Whatever late show.
A show in afternoon show.
Yeah, and now he's not in character anymore. You know completely what he's about.
Yeah.
It's like.
Yeah, it's like I'm picking my side, and heaven forbid my side do anything wrong.
Yeah,
and it's like that on both sides. I don't even want to.
Yeah, basically, it's like partisan comedy. No thanks. No thanks.
And the reason is, I watched a Wisecrack video about this. I think they were kind of making fun of all the Samantha Bees, the Trevor Noahs, all of these shows that have sort of like the outgrowth of the Jon Stewart Daily Show.
Yeah.
And it's like, what are they?
Yeah, John Oliver.
I think he's the best of all of these newer people. He still is like...
John Oliver or Trevor Noah?
John Oliver.
Trevor
Noah.
He's smart enough to just do a weekly show.
Yeah. Well, and of course, Trevor, it's like a lot of these Comedy Central. Aren't they out of business now, Comedy Central?
Mm.
I swear they've like gone out of business. But of course, these sort of corporate shows are sort of beholden to a corporate schedule. But I mean, I guess HBO is also a corporation as well, but they give their creators a little more freedom, I think. What was I going to say? I guess but the reason why these newer shows are like less funny, there's something cringy about them, is like they go a lot for like the clapter, where like they'll just say something that appeases their side, and it's like, yes, I agree with that. So it's not funny, but it's just like, yes, I agree with the thing that you're saying.
Right, like it's like every one has like they have to do an opening segment where they're like, "Can you believe this Donald Trump?"
Everyone's like,
yes,
I agree. Clap, clap, clap.
It's Orange Man's bad.
It's not funny necessarily,
and it's kind of just like, yeah, he's a bit of a dude.
Yeah, and then like it's like when you do that, there is no surprise, there's no shock, there's no twist, there's no turn, which is like, that's comedy. It's like set up and then a twist, and that like.
And first of all, it's all their fault anyway. Remember at like that the presidential media day thing?
Oh yeah,
where some SNL guy just roasts Donald Trump.
It was
and he's like
Seth Meyers.
He's like, imagine a world that Donald Trump thinks he can be president, and Donald Trump's there.
I'm gonna be president out of spite now.
And look at what you did, Sethy.
Isn't that funny? And then like what's his name? Obama did the same thing. He's like, you will never be president. Now he's the president. And there's something kind of ironic and funny about that. But
yeah, that's comedy.
That's that. Yeah. But it just sucks that like, if the left could somehow like, if they could realize how crazy they are, they could be sitting on like a comedy gold mine. But
yeah,
it's their inability to accept reality in a lot of instances that stops, that creates the clapter, that just is like, it stops them from being, and a lot of these shows from being very funny. It's too like sentimental too. Like comedy is like, not to be against sentimentality, but like comedy is comedy, and if you're making a comedy show, the point is to laugh, is it not?
Yeah. And
I think that's what the Jon Stewart iteration got that maybe these new ones are moving in a different direction. Jon Stewart, I think at its core, he knew it was like, it's not like a news show. It's a comedy show.
Yeah.
Which, spoofs the news, basically. Whereas, like, these other shows seem to be, like, we're kind of news shows with, like, delivered in a comedic tone. And I think there's a key difference there. I don't know.
But I don't know. It's a whole new genre now.
Steven Crowder would be like someone on the other side who's just like, "Hoy, dude, you're too mean. He's too mean. He's too like, he's so embroiled in like, same deal. All the same are like arguments for the left applies like to Steven Crowder, to like Gavin McInnes, like these sort of right.
Well, they're not doing
guys.
Comedy shows.
Yeah, they do. They claim Steven Crowder. If you ever watch his stuff, I like his debate. I like the change my mind stuff. I do like that.
Those are hilarious.
Yeah. And it's funny. I like it because he's being very sincere. He's being very like, he's not trying really to be funny at all, but like whenever he's trying to be funny and he's clowning on the left like super hard and in like a mean way, it's like, oh, this is like, it's a bad look. It's a bad look for conservatives.
Yeah.
I don't like it.
No one's winning the comedy war.
No one's winning I think
the partisan comedy war. It's just losers all around.
I don't think you can win the partisan comedy. I really think comedy has to be chaotic, right in the center. It cuts both ways. It's like the jester. The jester was the one who spoke the truth no matter what, and but in a way that wasn't like for or against any one particular thing. I don't know.
You got to have Norm Macdonald do it.
Get Norm Macdonald.
Does he still do his little Norm Macdonald show podcast thing?
I think he got canceled on all fronts for his comments. He made some comments.
Did he?
Oh, yeah.
About what? Last I saw...
About disabled people.
No.
He said...
He got canceled.
We ought not repeat it, but you can look it up. But he's...
Comments are a joke.
I mean, everything he says is, like, funny. He has that curse where, like, everything he says is funny, even when he's trying not to be. It's like the Michael Richards thing, right? Like, the Kramer from Seinfeld said the N-word on stage, and I think it sounded like he just, like, panicked and just, like, he leaned into, like, this bit he was in, but it turned out to be the worst bit of all time.
Yeah.
And then he goes and apologizes on the David Letterman show, and he's like really, sort of sober and everything. He's like kind of apologizing, and people are laughing because he's Kramer and everything he says is funny.
Yeah. And
Seinfeld's like, stop. I don't know. It's crazy.
Okay. Well, the last thing I saw, Norm, was he was like, I hope Donald Trump recovers from the coronavirus. And people were trying to like cancel him over that. He's like, I wouldn't wish anyone to die from the coronavirus. And they're like, F you, Norm Macdonald. We want Trump to die.
Yeah, see, this is the kind of behavior. This is the kind of like behavior that people think the left is insane. To say a thing like that, to wish death upon people. It's like when that one kid got doxxed, when the Native American guy was like
drumming in
his face, and the kid had a smarmy smile. He was guilty of having a smarmy smile.
Well, he was guilty of wearing a red hat.
Yeah. A red hat and a smarmy smile. Let's kill him.
Yeah. Yeah. They're like, this is the face of 400 years of oppression. I remember that.
No, it isn't.
And it's like, this is like a nervous
That kid's name is Tyler.
He's like nervous about this confrontation. He doesn't know how to handle this situation.
He barely knows who he is himself, and now he's like on national news. Kathy Griffin is like, let's kill this little kid. Let's kill a child.
Yeah.
Let's kill a teenager.
And it's just like,
it's wild.
That's reasonable.
It makes sense.
It's like that stupid white kid wore that hat and got accosted by protesters. And he was extremely uncomfortable about the situation.
And it turns out the whole like truth of the matter was that like the guy, came up to him. the thought was that like they all went up to this guy, but it was the guy had come up to these kids, and he was the one sort of baiting them into a confrontation. And then the news, it was like, okay, we have it from one angle, let's run with it.
Yeah, and they're just like, yeah, all right, this kid is guilty and ready for death.
Kathy Griffin has decided, everyone. Send him to the chokey.
Yeah. When really, it should have been a situation we all laughed about.
And we are right now.
Yeah.
I don't know.
You know what has been a good thing about 2020?
Working from home?
No. Fleetwood Mac back top
Back
of the
on
charts.
top, yeah, you're
top
right.
of the charts.
That's a nice segue.
I needed your thoughts on that. I did see a clip of like Joe Rogan trying to explain it, where it's like, why is cranberry juice and Fleetwood Mac just like the greatest thing that happened this year?
It's the song. I think it's the song.
Well, it's just like the straight vibe. It's like we were all having a bad time.
Yeah.
And then this guy with a feather tattoo is just like cruising on his longboard.
Yeah.
Blasting Fleetwood. And just slamming back an entire 2-liter of Ocean Spray cranberry. Ocean Spray is loving it.
Yeah.
Sales of Cran Raz juice is spiked.
I think he's got a podcast now. I saw like various things.
I saw Ocean Spray bought him a truck.
That's so good.
That's like the bare minimum they can do.
There's really nothing offensive about it, which is nice. It's not partisan. It's just like this nice thing. It's a guy.
I was like, yeah, when I was really trying to break it down, it's like, because he's got like this proficiency. Because it's like he's good at longboarding.
Yeah.
Because he can film himself.
Yeah.
While cruising on a longboard.
And drinking. Cran.
Just straight from the bottle. Cran raspberry.
Now, it was Cran raspberry?
Pretty sure it was the Cran Raz.
Okay.
Straight from the Ocean Spray bottle.
I think, who's the comedian who's got the great joke about like the whoever sells cranberries is doing a great job. They're just like, put a little cran in that. Cran grape, cran banana, cran raspberry. It's like, okay, enough. You got your commission.
No one wants to drink straight cranberry juice.
Yeah.
It always has to be mixed in with
cran.
something.
So, yeah, I don't know. It really is a...
Well, yeah.
I remember it was one of those viral things where, like, you see it, and I'm like a skeptic of all things viral. I'm like, ugh. That's why I think I haven't got COVID yet, because I'm so skeptical of everything.
Anything virus and
I'm
viral
like, I don't want anything to do with that.
You're like, virus? No thanks.
COVID, stay away. No, but like, it was something that kind of immediately wins you over, because it's like, hey, you love Fleetwood Mac. You hear that. Dreams is maybe, it's a contender for like, I don't know, top 5 songs of all time maybe. Or at least if you're into like...
I would say it's the best Fleetwood Mac song.
Sure.
And the thing is, it introduced Fleetwood Mac to a whole generation.
Yeah.
There's people that never even heard of them.
And that's wild.
And they're like,
me.
try listening to Landslide.
Yeah.
There's like YouTube videos where it's like these dudes listening to like Fleetwood Mac songs for the first time.
Wow.
And they're like, what? This is better than Dreams. And it's like, you're wrong.
You're wrong. Dreams is amazing. Yeah, well, you know, there's kids in high school. I think I was in high school when I discovered it, so, it makes sense. You got to discover it at some point.
Yeah.
We're just old now, and we're like, I can't believe there's groups of young people who haven't heard this, but we were them.
You're not familiar with this band from the 70s?
That I've been familiar with for 15 years, because I'm 31 now.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not outraged that people haven't heard of Fleetwood Mac.
It is like shocking.
Well, it's always a joke I would make. My joke is like, oh, we got like a love square going on like Fleetwood Mac.
Yeah.
That was like a joke I would make. And then people would always chuckle.
Yeah.
I think people never really understood it. They're just like a love square, Fleetwood Mac. They're like, these are all things. And I think they laughed because they're like, should I understand this?
Well.
I hardly understand it. Fleetwood Mac was a band with 2 guys and 2 girls.
Yeah. And
it was like a love square.
Love square. I think that's as much, just as that viral video has some unexplainable quality about it, so that joke too has an instantly connectable thing that is hard to explain fully.
Well, I've been riding that joke for years.
Keep riding it. It will serve you well, especially as a technician of science.
Technologist, thank you.
Technologist, excuse me.
Thank you.
And I did not mean to besmirch you or technicians.
I know you didn't mean to, but you did. But I forgive you.
Sorry. Yeah, I don't know. That thing is, it's a good song. I'm really trying to break down why is it so good. Maybe it truly is. It's just something that like caught hold, and I think most of it is Dreams. I think it's the song.
Yeah.
And it's like,
and the fact that he's slamming back Cranberry Juice on a longboard. But he could have been slamming back Cranberry Juice to some other song. Wouldn't have
worked.
Viral.
No.
It had to be the combination.
I think the reason why that song, and if we want to get into why that song is so good, I think it's the beat.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's that beat, and I think it's the bass line. You just like immediately, I don't know, I think it's like whatever that BPM is that like sort of syncs up with whatever our natural circadian rhythms are. I think we just like it.
The way our brain waves just resonate with that.
Yeah, it's like when you see birds.
What's the chord progression on it?
Boom, 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 boom. It's like a 2 thing, and then it's like I think it switches to. Plus, it's like Stevie Nicks. It's like you got the low, and then you got Stevie Nicks coming in high. She's got that higher sort of register. It's so much, and then I think it's. I always love songs with like a very clear and distinct drum, bass, guitar combo. The Smiths are really good for this too. You can hear a lot of their music as well. Each section is very distinct. You can hear each thing, which is really good. And then they have the I don't even know what that instrument is called, but it's like the. I don't know what it's called. It's a country sort of a thing.
Aren't they doing that with like a steel guitar thing?
Yeah, it's like you play it like it's flat. It's like laying down, and you're sort of like. I don't know exactly what it's called.
Some sort of it's a steel instrument, right? It's like a derivative of a steel guitar. Yeah. Not a steel guitar, but like unto it.
It's a country. It's used in country a lot, bluegrass, folk sort of stuff. So
Fleetwood Mac.
Yeah, all of a little rock and roll in there.
Let's see. What about General Conference? We usually talk about that.
I mean, we ought to. Let's see. What did I even watch from General Conference? Let's see. I have maybe a controversial take on General Conference. Should I come out of the closet about my feelings about General Conference?
Yeah, that's fair.
I don't really like it that much anymore.
No?
It's kind of the same. It's the same. I don't know. It's there's nothing. I get that it's General Conference. It's not specific conference, but there's nothing. And maybe that's my fault for just being a slave of like novelty. I just want something new and exciting from it. But these talks feel like they take their old talks from last General Conference, or just whatever talks were given at last General Conference. Recycle them.
Tie a new bow around them.
Put a new stupid story about someone dying. I don't want to hear about some kid dying. That's another thing.
Was there a talk about a kid dying?
Yeah, I was like, oh, conference is on. I better tune in. I turn it on, and like the first thing that comes up is like, Billy was an energetic young boy, and I was like, okay, good start, but he died. He was about. No, they don't just say he died. They say, or they will sort of like they'll be like, and he won the Cub Car rally. His funeral the next week was very well attended. It's like, what? Come on.
I don't remember.
He's dead.
I don't remember.
They always do it, and I'm like, I don't want to hear about kids dying, and how like It's like they pull on your heartstring to sort of like trigger emotion, and then they swoop in with the thing you should do.
Sounds like just good public speaking.
Ugh.
Well, like
I don't like to feel like I'm being manipulated.
Then don't be.
You can't. That's to be manipulated.
I guess they're like, and Billy died. And I'm like, well, we all die. I feel nothing.
That's my problem.
Billy died. I'm going to die. Everyone I love will die.
The grand scheme of things, we're all dead.
It's like I've spent being sad about death. I got that out of the way by the age of 14.
Me and Nietzsche.
Yeah. No, it's like the progmos. They always put out their little like Twitter list where it's like, you don't need to listen to everything you hear at General Conference. You don't have to change your ways. Because they're like, they're the people that are in the church but not in the church. So they like hear things at General Conference and it triggers them and their souls get wretched.
It pierces them.
Because they just hate General Conference. They hate the general authorities and the fact that they say things and it would mean that they should like think or act differently.
They ought to change, yeah.
Yeah. So they put out like a list that's like, you don't have to listen to it and you don't have to feel bad. I put out a list that's like, hey, you don't have to be inspired by General Conference. You can have a General Conference where you're like, yep, they're saying the things that they say.
You want to be inspired, though.
Well, I mean,
you hope to be inspired.
You don't have to be inspired. Sometimes there's like a session or a talk and you're like, yeah, nailed it. There's like, 3 years in a row, D. Todd Christofferson was like speaking to my soul.
Yeah.
And then in the next 3 years, he's been a dud. What am I supposed to be like? The church isn't true because D. Todd Christofferson isn't like giving me messages that I love every single time? No. What am I, some sort of megalomaniac?
I mean, you can take that out of the equation altogether. It's like the church is true conditionally based upon if someone gave a good talk or not. But I'm just saying purely from like a do I want to watch this standpoint. Unfortunately for me, it's just been like,
oh yeah, like
there's nothing about this General Conference that was like, you know what actually is better than the General Conference talks are the BYU talks.
They get a little freer and looser.
They're a little loose. They're a little free. They're a little more topical.
Yeah.
I didn't actually watch the talk, but Dallin H. Oaks gave something about racism, which is like, they should have done that in General Conference.
Well, he did give a talk about racism in General Conference.
Oh, I must have missed it.
Oh, well, it's just like, ooh, we're going to have to address all these riots in the election in America.
Yeah.
Who's going to do that? It's Dally.
It's the guy
H. Oaks.
who people kind of don't like for his hardline conservative view.
Yeah.
In a conservative church, the most conservative, the conservative of conservatives.
Well, it was great because he went in there and he's just like, everyone is wrong. Because he was like, are you racist? You're wrong. Are you protesting and looting? You're wrong.
He's not wrong for saying that. I don't think. Yeah. Well, not about protesting, but like stealing and looting. Yeah. Surely we can do without that.
Peaceful demonstration is what's legal in this country.
Right.
He's like destruction of property, illegal.
Who are you serving? Who are you helping with that?
Yeah. So everyone's like, yeah, he stuck it to the looters.
But could you also...
he also stuck it to the racists. And then the racists are like, ooh. Because, there's some of those in the church.
Some. Well, aren't we all a little racist, though?
No.
Okay.
Not in the least. The official stance of this podcast is...
Anti-racist.
Anti-racist.
But surely it's doing us all a disservice to pretend that not every single human being on this planet has some little drop of racism in them. And it's not even, I wouldn't even say it's anyone's, I'm not saying racism is good. I'm just saying racism is probably a thing that we all have to deal with, to manage, to overcome. I think it's part of our natural man inclination sometimes to say like these. Well, that's like, and it's not even like just racism. It's just like whatever isn't me and whatever isn't my like close kin group is, different, and therefore I should be wary or whatever.
Well, that's like a reasonable and sensible take, which is why you're going to get canceled.
Yeah.
And I'll be the
first. It was nice knowing all of you.
We had a good run at this podcast.
I don't know. Should we edit that out? I feel like I stand by that. I would say that in any forum.
Yeah.
It's something we all have to manage and struggle against. It's not a good instinct, but I think it is kind of an instinct that all humans have.
It would have been a good instinct for like the Mayans when the Spanish came and gave them all smallpox.
Right.
Because from an evolutionary standpoint, that's why racism is ingrained in us.
Right.
So that when you come across new groups of people, they don't give you their
germs,
their endemic diseases.
Yeah, the ones that they're all immune to, but you're not.
So that'd be like the evolutionary basis for it.
Right.
But
now in these modern times, it's not.
There's no evolutionary basis for it.
There's no good reason for it. It seems.
And besides, science is just white supremacy. So
yeah, so we should cancel science too. I don't know. It's a big, complicated thing, but I didn't realize that.
Dallin H.
Oaks had said something about it. That's good. Good. Okay.
And I was a little annoyed because what kind of like Borat. He's like bringing up the American election, and I was like, they've already. It's like the majority of the church doesn't live in America anymore.
Yeah,
it's like 51% now. But he's like, we gotta make sure you vote.
But they're in America. Well,
yeah.
I don't know. It is a kind of an American church. It was started in America.
Yeah.
There's no other country on earth where it could have started. No other country had freedom. Except for Canada, England. Well, I guess England was... No, they were... was England free?
Well,
they went to England to baptize people.
No. It couldn't have happened in Europe. This is where Nietzsche, he talks about this. Remember his prediction of... Because nihilism had swept through Europe.
Yeah.
And he like predicted the Great World Wars.
Yeah.
And like the fall of religion in Europe.
I see.
So was Europe free? Yes. But they were going through a sort of a cultural revolution.
Yes. Which
is why the church could not have started in Europe.
I suppose. Yeah, I get. Yeah, sure. And it's like it's to talk about what could have happened is sort of like this pointless conversation too. It's like the fact is that it did happen in Palmyra, New York. Was it Palmyra?
The formation of the church?
Maybe not the formation, but the that's where he had the first vision. Was it Palmyra?
Yeah. New York.
Sacred Grove.
Hill Cumorah.
The Hill Cumorah. That's
two hills.
Buried the plates.
Two hills of Cumorah.
There's two of them. There's one.
There's a Hill Cumorah in
Mesoamerica.
Central America.
And there's one in the Great Lakes up in New York.
That's the official stance of BYU scholars.
That's right. There's two hills. Two Hill Cumorahs, okay?
Yeah, Cumorah.
Get over
Cumorah's a title.
Cumorah's a title.
It's
not
a
an
position.
Actual place. It's the name for a thing, a hill. Cumorah is a word for hill.
And then the Angel Moroni moved him to New York.
Yeah.
Come on.
And they moved him back. There's multiple plates, all right? Get over it. The Hill Shim.
You're just making that up?
No, that's real, baby.
Hill Shim?
The Hill Shim. The Cave Shim.
Is that where the big records were?
That's where all the records were. And let's look that up.
Jamie.
I call my phone Jamie.
Here we are back on Book of Mormon geography.
I was kind of thinking yesterday as we were making a plan to do this. I was like, should we like move back to like more Mormon things? Should we serve our audience what they what they want or what they expect from a Mormon podcast, an LDS podcast, a Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints podcast?
I mean, they do sponsor the podcast.
And it is a sponsored podcast by the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints.
Speaking of sponsors, we lost our bottled water sponsor.
We did.
You finally caved and got a water filter.
We have a new sponsor, Brita Water Filters. They make water clean.
Troy finally got shamed out of single-use plastic water bottles.
I was just tired of the women I date being like, you're a bag of crap for using water bottles.
You are single-handedly destroying. As you're just like, why? As you like walk past the blue bin and dump it into like the garbage. Yeah. And you're like, wait, what's this special bin you're putting him into? You're like, this is the one that I drive to the ocean once a year.
That island in the middle of the ocean isn't going to grow itself.
You're like, it turns out I learned that the plastic here in Alberta just goes to landfills and we'll never see the ocean. So you're like, I drive it out to the coast.
Dump it in.
And I go to like sea turtle hatcheries.
And I take a hatchet and I kill at least one turtle. People are going to be mad at
the turtles
that
escape, they'll get crushed. Oh, I've said this. This is my hot take.
On turtles or what? Bottles?
I hate paper straws so much.
Me too.
And I was like, I will kill every single sea turtle in the world if I get my plastic straws back. And Jasmine's like, you can't say that.
And
I'm like, well, now I'm saying it on the podcast.
Now hundreds of people will hear this. Maybe 100.
And they're just like, clearly that's a joke. And I'm like, no, I'll do it.
No, I have. Yeah, all of our defenders are like, obviously, this is a light-toned podcast most of the time.
I don't think you understand how little I care about sea turtles and how much I care about plastic straws.
About getting what I want when I want it.
I'd rather the sea turtles all be dead.
I'd rather a species of life die than I go without having single-use plastic straws. If I have to feel
the sensation of paper on my lips while I drink Coke Zero, no.
Does?
How about this?
I don't even want to think of
it. Here's my compromise.
Okay.
I'll kill a sea turtle for every paper straw I get.
So not all the sea turtles.
Not all the sea turtles.
Yeah.
But every paper straw I get, I'll kill a sea turtle. Every plastic straw I get, I will carry a sea turtle from the beach into the ocean.
Or you could use because presumably to kill a sea turtle would take time, resources, cash.
Well, no, this is like, in 10 years, I'll be like, okay, I used this many 100 plastic straws.
Okay.
And I'll go make sure I kill that many 100 sea turtles.
You use that many paper straws, you're saying?
Whatever deal I made, I don't even remember.
You're like,
it was simpler when I said I will kill every single sea turtle.
I want, and I'm going to kill the sea turtles. Plastic straws, and just to make a point. No, man, sea turtles, I saw one in the wild in Hawaii once. It was like swimming next to me, and it was honestly kind of scary because it's like, oh, yeah, there's life in the ocean. Yeah, but it was it was a beautiful thing.
't you grab on for a ride?
Yeah. I surfed him into shore, and then he was just on the shore. And then, unfortunately, the weight of my body against his neck had broken his neck, and I accidentally killed a sea turtle.
The circle of life.
And the circle of life continues.
So that's one paper straw you have to use now?
Yeah, and I've already used it. I went to A&W, and I used a paper straw, and I said a prayer for Ringo. That's the...
That was the sea turtle.
And the sea turtle's
name.
It
had a name tag on its fin. It had a radio ID.
Apparently
conservationists were tracking.
It was like 100 years old. It was kind of like well beloved in the Hawaiian Islands. There was a lot of mourning that happened. That they said, "Who the hell is that man? That super white man surfing? What is he surfing on? Oh my gosh! It's Ringo the turtle." And, there were a lot of protests and stuff.
But you just got back on a plane and...
Yeah. I mean, I'm a lifetime banned from Hawaii at this point, but I think it was... I don't want to say it was worth it because I don't want to be insensitive, but it was pretty good, let's just say.
So how about that Hill Shim?
So the Hill Shim is a real place, and I looked it up. And I was right. My memory served me correct. Are we going to have to cut this whole episode out? I don't know. And that was, of course, a joke. I've never killed it. I've only killed one thing in my life, and it's a mouse. And I had to do it. My grandmama made me do it.
That's right. Oh, yeah. Haven't we had this I was like, haven't you killed like hundreds of gophers? You never gone gopher shooting?
Just one mouse.
Just one mouse.
But it was with a hammer. So I don't know if that makes it 10 times worse.
Was it in a trap?
It was in it. Well, it was loose, and then we had to kick it. I kicked it. It was like loose. I kick it. There was a rug we had set up to keep it from escaping. It got lodged under the rug. My dad sort of traps it under the rug, and he's like, okay, kill it. So,
that's a moment I really wish I could have seen. Just Clint looking at you.
Hands me a hammer. A ball-peen hammer. The serial killer's choice. Hammer of choice.
And he's like, this will have no consequences in the future. There'll be no repercussions, as you're like...
Yeah. And every year on Halloween, he kills one mouse. Anyway, so that was...
And one person dressed as a mouse. We were talking about the Hill Shem and the Hill Cumorah.
Yeah. So the Hill Shem is in the land of Antum, as we all know, which is next to the land of Jashan. Of course, the Hill Shem is eastward of the city of Boaz, northward of the Narrow Neck. And you know where the Narrow Neck is?
Baja, California.
Yeah. Southward of the hill Ramah / the Hill Cumorah. The Hill Cumorah. So it's by the Hill Cumorah. But there's two of those. Okay. So, and westward of Ablam, the Hill Shem is several days' travel from the lands of Nehor and Heth. I love how sure they are. I love how certain. View it on a map. Okay, let's check this out.
Yeah, I know. I love it. What's his name? The local, the Baja California guy. It starts with an R. I never remember. Rosenthal.
I think it's Rosenthal.
Yeah, he's like, the Book of Mormon is not a geographical primer. It's like they talk about a lot of theology and doctrine in the book. They don't talk a lot about geography. So it's really hard to make a map or predict where things actually are.
Yeah.
But we're like, no. He's like, but...
Having said that...
Baja, California.
It's literally in Baja, California. You could go there today.
Well, who's our other buddy? Robert... I was going to say Robert Ludlum, but I was like, Robert Ludlum writes spy books.
Yeah, what's his name?
Robert Meldrum. Pretty sure it's Meldrum.
Meldrum. There's also another guy with like the same... I think it's Jordan Peterson.
No, you're thinking of the controversial psychologist, Jordan B. Peterson.
No, I swear.
I don't think he said anything about Book of Mormon
I swear
geography.
He said something about... No, he like came... I have a picture of him. I forget his name. He went to like a YSA thing.
In Calgary?
And I swear his name is Dr. Peterson, and his first name is Jordan. Not the controversial,
friend of the podcast,
Jordan Peterson, and you have to go and you have to make your bed and you have to do it, and if you do, and that's the hell of a thing of it. So he's not the guy, but it's a different guy.
Another Dr. Peterson. Wait, what did he say?
I forget.
Was he a Great Lakes guy? Mesoamerica or Baja California?
I think he was talking about the first visions. Actually, he was like a church history guy. Less about Book of Mormon geography, or maybe it was. I want to say it was more about church history.
If it's not Book of Mormon geography, I'm not interested.
You want nothing to do with it.
That's the only thing I care about.
He was... So anyway, yeah, the Hill Shem is the place where... this is Mormon chapter 1, verse 2. And about the time that Amram hid up the records unto the Lord, he came unto me, I being about 10 years of age, and I began to be learned somewhat after the manner of the learning of my people. And Amram said unto me, I perceive that thou art a sober child, and art quick to observe. You're a sober child.
Yeah.
Were you a sober child?
I was.
I think you actually were a sober child.
I was.
In the way that he's talking about.
Yeah, it could have been me.
And the commentary for this is, this verse references the place of the Hill Shem. Amram had hid up the records in Hill Shem. The term.
Yeah, so that's where all of the unabridged records.
Yeah, all those records.
So where is that?
Well, it's in, it's by...
that's where I want to see.
It's by Antum. Weren't you listening? It's Boaz. It's several days' journey from Antum.
It's probably all in scrolls, though,
so
Boaz. It's probably all gone.
No, it's a big hill full of golden plates.
No.
Treasure.
No.
How appealing would that sound to someone like Joseph Smith and his family, huh?
Yeah.
A big treasure
He would have been
hill.
like, forget about the Hill Cumorah. I'm going to the Hill Shem.
I want the Hill Shem, dog. And I'm bringing my, what do you call it, with me? My stick.
Little witching sticks.
Yeah. Speaking of Halloween and spooky stuff, I feel like the Smith family circa, early 1800s would be a prime group to look at for spooky stuff.
What, because of their pseudo-occult business?
Yeah, that's why.
Yeah.
What? Because they practice occult witchcraft magic? Come on.
You're like, no.
And for those who do not believe me, they did do that. And I'm not saying that to say it in a bad way.
It was a popular thing to do.
Heaven forbid. It's a great,
in 50
fun
years,
thing to do.
They're going to be like, oh, and they'd use social media in 2020.
Their magic windows, social media. They used, can you believe this guy had a Twitter account? Oh, my gosh.
Do you even know how bad that is for your serotonin levels?
Yeah.
Social media?
Science forbid.
Oh,
Yeah.
So don't look down on them like they're idiots.
So you're saying that the occult was the 1800s version of social media.
That's what I just said.
All the kids are doing it. They're all
It was like a popular thing to do.
Yeah, all the adults are like, but here's the thing, all the adults, I mean, much like Facebook, right? They were sort of like late to the party. They're like, I guess we'll do occult magic too. And the kids are like, oh. Then they move on to the next thing.
Anymore.
They move on to whatever the TikTok of their generation was.
Drinking.
Rational thought, yeah.
Then they had to do prohibition.
Because
like they had to cancel TikTok, or they tried to.
Like, did your mom and dad do magic? Yeah. Oh my gosh, it used to be cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's kind of a funny idea.
Folk magic. Yeah.
Folk magic. So yeah, Joseph Smith and Joseph Smith Jr. were spooky fellas, and they would go out and look for treasure. And guess who was guarding the treasure? Ghosts.
Really?
Spirits, yeah.
Makes sense.
Yeah. So anyway, that's kind of a fun little Halloween connection, isn't it?
Very fun.
A little testimony shaking Halloween reference.
There's nothing to shake your testimony about.
No?
No.
When you heard about that for the first time, you weren't like, huh? How come I've never heard about this before?
Because when I heard about it is when I heard about it.
When did you hear about it?
I don't know, when they talked about the stone.
When that stone first came out, I wasn't really up on all this stuff, and I was kind of like, huh, cool. And I think that was like a lot of people's reaction to the stone.
I don't know. And then, and then I remember looking into it when South Park. After South Park is like, he looked into a hat to translate the Book of Mormon. I was like, no, he didn't.
I just thought that was funny.
And then I was like, oh, yeah, I guess he did. I mean, he didn't sing a little song when he did it. That, I think, is historically inaccurate.
Yeah, very likely. Why do you think they pick on Mormons so much, those Parkers, those Matt Stone and Trey Parker?
Well, because they're ex-Mormons.
Yeah, I guess that has something to do with it. Is that true? I don't know if that's true.
Oh, yeah. They were baptized members.
Let me look that up.
Yeah. And you know how it is with the ex-Mormons. They can't just leave peacefully. They have to burn the house down on their way out.
Yeah.
Because if the house still stands, their new life isn't justified.
How do they know so much about Mormonism?
What is
It says that they're from a relatively highly LDS Mormon bubble in Colorado. The map of the LDS church. So I think it's like that they're from a highly
Mormon town.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure they were like baptized. But they like never went to church.
I don't know if they were. And I don't really want to.
I mean, if
fact check that, but
I want to, let's get them on the horn.
Yeah. Were you baptized?
I'm sure they would have had their names removed.
What if we got them on our podcast? What do you think our base listenership would think of that?
I don't think they'd. Some of them would find it very interesting. A lot of it wouldn't like it.
Yeah.
As we sit there and we're like, you made a musical to try and mock the church.
Yeah.
And the church took out advertisements in the playbill, and thousands of people were baptized because of it. How do you feel?
How do you feel being like the single greatest contributor to the Mormon church growth since the inception of your play, Book of Mormon?
Yeah. How do you feel about putting the thought and name into so many people's heads.
How do you feel about being essentially missionaries for the Church of Jesus Christ?
Doctrine and Covenants Section 4 says, "Blessed are those that bring the wheat into my storehouse."
Yeah, and let the chaff be gone out of it.
You have brought so many souls.
I just improv some D&C verse. So they brought lots of souls into the shepherd's house.
And I think any people that they like, all the people that are like, are people that never would have.
They were never going to do it. It's a great separator.
They separated the sheeps and the goats.
The wheats and the chaffs.
The chaffs.
The chaffs.
So they're literally like angels.
They are the angels of God. Thank you, Matt Stone and Trey Parker.
So they're definitely minimum terrestrial kingdom people.
Yeah, they got bumped up a level.
They might even be.
Hell, if they're baptized.
If I'm going to speculate.
If they're baptized?
Well, and maybe they never got around to canceling it. That's ministering angels in the celestial kingdom status.
Should we be baptizing more people? Hey, watch out. You're going to kick the water glass over. Should we be baptizing more people, Lyndon? What do you think? Hot take.
Yes.
Okay. I think no. Just kidding. Just kidding. I think we should.
I think we should get as many people baptized as we can.
Even if they can't really live up to the covenants that they make? Is that our fault for doing that? I know we both baptized a couple people that are like, maybe they weren't fully prepared.
I will not take responsibility for the actions I took while I wore the name tag.
True.
That wasn't Lyndon.
That was Elder Naglis.
Elder Naglis did that.
Missionary of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. You weren't yourself.
Everything I did there was under the authorship of the church.
Is it fair to say you're kind of not yourself on a mission?
Yeah.
You're not, like, even in your head space, your heart space, you're really not yourself. It's like you kind of are, you play the role of a person.
I certainly wasn't 30-year-old Lyndon. I mean, heaven forbid if that's the case.
Yeah.
If you're like a dude that never comes home, your mission's done, but you're still in the mission field.
You still have that 1,000-yard stare. You're still scoping out houses to tract. You're looking on rooftops, seeing if anyone's up there, looking to snipe you with anti-Mormon literature. Yeah. I don't know. It's, I feel like serving in the States has this, like, you have interesting run-ins with military veterans that sort of colors the experience in a kind of a special, different way than someone who, say, goes to, like, South America. Like, the United States has this military component where, like, and you're at least this is kind of how I felt. The whole mission experience is kind of military-esque.
It can be.
Not in terms of, like, the actual, I mean, the only combat that you're seeing.
I got, like, the corporate America mission.
Okay.
I think you got, like, the military barracks mission.
Yeah.
Like the Fort Atlanta mission.
We had Fort.
You literally had, like, Fort
Bragg. Yeah. How did I screw that up? Fort Benning is in Georgia, yeah, and we went there, and a lot of people are in the military and stuff, and so you can't help but there was one guy who gave us these, like, cool, like, tactical shirts, just like he had 2 extra tactical shirts, and he just, like, gave them to us, and, like,
and you're like, this makes sense. We're, like, special ops,
so that we, like, put them on at night, and we were like, look how cool we are. I think I still have that somewhere.
Yeah, see, I didn't. There's a Marine base in Yuma, out in the desert, but I never served in Yuma. I never went out to the Yuma zone.
So you felt more like you were in sort of a corporate like a sales.
Yeah.
It's one part sales, it's half sales, half the military.
Yeah,
that's sort of the experience.
Mine was very much like, we were insurance salesmen,
right?
Going out selling insurance for people's souls.
Is that the perfect way to describe to someone, like, the experience of being a missionary? It's like if the Army took over a sales, like if the Army's sole job.
If the Army had to sell mortgages.
Yeah. This is how they would do it.
Yeah.
For sure, this is how they would do it.
Yeah, they would be
That's the perfect way to describe what a mission is. It's the military in charge of a sales team?
Well, I mean, parts of the military do have sales team. They have recruiters.
And what do those guys have to do?
And
They
where
gotta wake up.
Where do those guys go?
They
They
gotta
go to poor
exercise.
neighborhoods.
Go to poor
And they promise
neighborhoods.
They promise underprivileged Latinos a lot of things.
Eternal life.
And I am not seeing a difference from my mission right now. Except, no one went into like combat. They just got to continue living their life, but
and we don't want to disrespect the veterans and those who have served by any means. We're just saying like, or to even say that we have that experience at all. But the regimentation of serving a mission, I'm sure there are those who have. I'm positive. I know people who have both served a mission and served in the military and
served on sales teams.
Yeah, and
they don't get a day.
No,
door-to-door salesmen, they don't get a day.
No,
there's no celebration for them.
No. So, anyway, where were we talking about right before that? I think we were. Matt Stone, Trey Parker,
Hill Shim. We weren't talking about sea turtles. We wouldn't bring that up.
No. We wouldn't dare.
General conference, right? You didn't care for it. You weren't that
I'm out of the closet. Yeah, I used to love it back when I was more zealous. Are you a zealot? Were you ever a zealot? I was a zealot. When I was young, early 20s, as a missionary, I was a zealot. Like I said, I wasn't really, or I was a different version of myself. And then over the years, my zealousness declined. It's like testosterone levels, you know. I actually heard this stat. It was a Jordan Peterson video. Actually, he was like, "Should I do it in the voice or should I just say it?"
Half started in the voice and then transition out, please.
People, I'll just transition right now. Basically, saying that like in young men, the levels of from about 16 to 25. There's this spike in creativity and also incarceration. So like you're either like you're committing a lot of crimes during this time period, or it's the most like creative period of your life. Look at someone like Kurt Cobain, right? Like he's a guy who from 18 to 25 basically changed rock and roll music in the 90s, kind of a thing. Like or even like any of these 27 Club people, you know. There's like this reckless, creative
Zuckerberg.
Oh my gosh! Of course, he's still alive. Fortunately, we love Zuck. We love Zuck on this podcast, don't we?
I don't know.
Hail Zuck!
I don't think we have. I don't think there's any harm that could actually.
I don't want to besmirch Zuck, man. This man has infinite means.
He could bury our podcast.
This guy has infinite means. Same with Bezos.
Yeah.
We're friends of Bezos, and we're friends of Zuck.
Order a Mission Stories podcast merch on Amazon.ca.
Amazon.ca.
Don't get your merch from anywhere except Amazon.
Zon Manaz. We do a competitor called Zon Manaz. Yeah, I just thought that was interesting. And I had like this sort of this connected point. I look at like a lot of the protests and stuff, and sort of like the going out there, the looting, the rioting, the everything, and just like people who believe really strongly in what they believe in. I don't know if you can blame like young people.
It's a young man's game. They always say.
It's like you're so. I was a zealot too. I was a hardcore believer in the thing that I believed in. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And, you know, as you get older, you sort of start to see things from both sides, and you have maybe more of an analytical.
Yeah, you know, you get your adult brain,
things, you know,
and at that point, the only thing you'd protest is like paper straws.
Yeah. The thing that we're so upset about is like, how dare anyone disturb my comfort?
My lips. My lips. You hear that? That's the sound of lips that cannot stand wood fibers for 1 second.
That's going to be real annoying to whoever's listening to this. Just me smacking my lips into the mic, and I'm sorry. Yeah,
as
like
annoying
that's
as a paper straw, but continue your point.
My point's kind
A
of
young
done.
man's game.
It's a young man's game.
It's
People,
when they're either creative
young people,
or destructive.
yeah. You know, and you haven't thought things through. It's hard to think about things, and you're so emotional, like you're highly emotional, and things feel like they matter a lot when you're like 18, 19, 20, 21. You know what I mean?
Thank goodness we send all these kids out on missions to like
It's not
to get that out of their system.
And to believe in something that's relatively innocuous. Do you know what I mean? It's like come to Jesus and be baptized. Like the worst thing that you're doing is
commit yourself to living wholesome.
And
it's like, you know, it's very harmless. Some might say very wholesome.
Wholesome and helpful.
Yeah.
At the worst thing that you're doing is committing someone to something they may not be ready to commit to. And even then, the stakes for that are very low. Very low.
Who's ready to commit to baptism? No one's ready for it.
No one's ready. You start.
No one's ready until you do it.
That's right. And you just have to want to do it. I think that's the qualifier. It's the same as a mission. And I think it's the same as getting married, or so I tell myself. Someday, Lyndon. Someday.
Yeah, you should get married.
Nah.
Remember, like, I think, that's how we ended our last podcast.
That's right. Yeah.
We were like, we had said some like sad or controversial thing.
Yeah.
And we're like, ugh, how are we going to wrap this up? And we're just like, let's talk about Troy's love life.
And then like talk about sad and controversial.
Troy's
talk about love life. Hello.
No. No, it's not sad.
No, it's happy. Listen, life is good. I was thinking recently about just how good my life is. And I think you should have the same thought. And I think whoever's listening to this should have the same thought.
Hey,
your life is great.
As this is some advice that like a physiotherapist told Jasmine. They're like, hey, you're doing better than you think you are.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, it's true.
You are doing better than you think you are. Listen, even in like the worst case scenario, and listen, you're not the worst case scenario, but let's say that like we're talking to the one person who is the worst case scenario, where you have like physical problems or something. It's like, maybe it's like you have something, right? Like your mind is sharp. Maybe like you can run really fast. Maybe like your biceps are rocking, you know? Maybe your pecs are popping. Maybe your tries are ripped. Maybe you have lats that are just like go on for days. It's like a tabletop. You can eat dinner off your lats.
Yeah.
Or maybe you're like really funny, or maybe like you can remember all of the episodes of The Office, or like you have something that is a strength. And I pretty much guarantee you are not like the worst case scenario just for life situations, and you have to be grateful for what you have.
Hey, if you're listening to this podcast, you're not the worst.
No, you're the best.
You're
the best. Banana. You're the best. You are the best.
Remember that.
Yeah. So I don't know. It's like it's crazy to think about. Like some people have incredibly hard lives. One thing I remember, something you have said before that I always kind of like sticks with me. You're like talking about World War II. The storming the beaches of Normandy. You're like, I should have like died on a beach in Normandy. That like should have been what I did. And it's like,
I remember saying that in my late 20s. Yes. Where I was like, was I even supposed to live this long? Like I was like, I was born in the wrong generation. I should have died a hero. Like just MG42s riddling my body.
Yeah.
And nope, not me.
But
here
like,
I am.
You're
still
lucky, and I mean, I think part of the sentiment of what you were saying was like, you did not like that you were still like, you wish you were like a hero in Normandy.
Yeah.
But also, I think it's fair to say that like, how lucky are we that we just haven't had to. We haven't had as young men. If we were literally born like 100 years ago or whatever, we would have had to fight in probably one of the 2 world wars, you know? I don't want to do that math, so like don't make me do it. But
You know, chances are,
yeah.
we might have had to fight in the the Boer War? I don't know. The Boers?
I don't know.
One of them, I don't know.
Some war.
But
Even like the people who, there's people like we're so lucky to be in Canada. We're so lucky to be, I don't know. I feel so privileged.
I mean, we could have voluntarily joined the Canadian Armed Forces and been shot at in Afghanistan.
Sure. Yeah, there's veterans today. I mean, like, this is kind of fitting because, November 11th is coming up, Remembrance Day. And knowing our schedule, we should probably make this a Christmas episode, too.
We're going to do a Halloween folk magic episode, and we have to do Remembrance Day.
Yeah.
That's like the church schedule. They always have their Remembrance Day thing.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just like you got to be grateful. These men, they gave their lives so that we could kind of sit here and talk into microphones and talk about killing turtles in a flippant way. Boy, who's gonna get mad at us for the turtle stuff? That's what I'm thinking.
Oh, a lot of people.
Yeah. Okay. Okay, well,
I mean, just remember, I don't have access to sea turtles, so I couldn't kill them if I wanted to.
Is my stuff on racism, is that too hot? I'm already thinking, like, I got to do a timestamp. We got to, like...
No, you acknowledged the fact that racism exists and that we should combat it.
Okay.
So I think that's, like...
pretty safe.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I won't get fired for that.
Well, it's hard to say these days.
It's like, well, yeah, you will get...
Well, that's a very fair thing to say, but how dare you say it?
Yeah, how dare you? How dare you not?
How dare you
call
say
for
it?
the death of that MAGA hat kid?
Oh, yeah. They're like, so you want to kill sea turtles, but you don't want to kill that human
boy?
boy?
You don't want to kill a human boy for wearing a hat and smiling? Send them to the chokey.
The gulag.
Send them to the googe.
Do you think they're going to make like a modern day gulag for the dissidents soon?
Dude, it's you know what I think?
I think they have made it. It's called like working retail or
it's
something.
called Twitter, am I right? No, it's not. That's retail, I don't know. I think I think things are not as bad as my outlook is not as bad as a lot of people's outlook is for the future of at least the country. I think the planet seems to always do better than we give it credit for.
Hey,
you're
one less person drinking bottled water.
Yeah, and I'm helping the planet by not...
Things are on the up and up.
I have a lot of Gatorade bottles, but those were from when I bought those back early pandemic, and I thought...
you're like, I'm going to need some electrolytes.
I thought I was going to be taking in electrolytes at an abnormal rate.
You're like, I was getting ready for Gatorade enemas for the end times.
My electrolytes. Yeah.
Speaking of enemas.
Speaking of.
You want to hear this fun fact? Because I,
just throwing in enemas.
In my little studies, I'm doing microbiology right now.
Okay.
And, we have benches that we have to do. So I just finished my competency on the blood cultures bench. And the week before that was on the the stools bench. This moment brought to you by our sponsor, Reese's. Troy is cracking into a beautiful... Are you doing some ASMR?
Some ASMR, yep.
Opening up a Reese's package.
Continue. I didn't mean to be rude.
But anyway, stools.
Your mom's going to hate this part.
Oh, yeah, when you interrupt or make noises over me. But on the old stools bench, we're learning, people get...
stool is poo.
Yeah, stool is poop.
Right. For a second, I thought you literally meant like stools.
Like we're testing like...
You're at a stool at a table. Like stool table. I was like, those two words mean different things.
Enterics, you might say. People get like salmonella poisoning.
Right.
But there was, for some reason, as I was studying, it brought up this fact that this family got stranded like on a boat in the ocean. And the mom was a nurse. This is important because how they survived is they had like turtle blood enemas. So the
What?
I think they that's like the title, but it's not true. The point is the only water they had was like this rusty, nasty water sitting in the bottom of like the shipwreck.
Yuck.
And the mom's like, if we drink that, we're going to get sick, and it's going to make us more dehydrated and we'll die. She's like, but if we pump that dirty water up our butts, then we won't get sick, but we'll still get hydrated.
Are you serious?
And apparently there's like dead turtles in there or something. So there's like, like turtle guts and like turtle blood in the water. So they just gave themselves like turtle blood enemas.
Whoa.
To bypass, the system so that they didn't get any infections and stayed hydrated.
Damn.
And then it's just like, who would have they went straight to like turtle blood enemas without like a second thought.
Yeah, they're the people in the airplane crash that immediately were like, let's skip all the like peanuts and stuff. Let's eat a human.
And it's just like, oh, help is on the way. And they're already marking the leg of like this guy that's limping. They're like, that's who we're gonna eat.
They're eyeing up the tastiest legs they can find.
So yeah, it makes me think you're like, we're gonna have to get ready for some Gatorade enemas.
Yeah, and
that's the fastest way to get the electrolytes.
Yeah, and it's the fastest way to eat your spaghetti too.
I don't like that.
Okay.
But anyway, so yeah, would you give yourself a turtle blood enema to survive?
I would now that you said that. I'm kind of glad you said that. I feel like you're going to save lives.
Yeah, I'm like, this is an important thing I've learned.
Information.
It's like dirty water.
Can't drink it.
Can't drink it. Stick it up your butt.
Stick it up your
keister.
Up your bum, your bung hole.
And
stick it up the old do.
And you won't die.
And you will not die. Okay, if someone can tell me what that's from, just like, so this is what it is. You will not die. You will live. I don't know what it's from. I think it's from something.
Like a movie?
Yeah, a movie. I say it in Warzone when I'm playing, when someone's like, you got to revive them. It's like, you will not die. You will live. And I do this little
it almost sounds like it's from like Gladiator or something.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what it's from, but I mean, everything I say is kind of this amalgamation of movies I've seen, so it has to be from something.
You're like, I haven't had an original thought.
In years.
I only think in quotes.
Yeah, everything is a quote. Speaking of movie quotes or show quotes, this is the way. Should we talk about The Mandalorian?
Oh, yeah.
Should people who don't like Star Wars shut this podcast? Oh, no, we'll...
You know what? First of all...
screw them.
The only compliments I get on the podcast anymore... Well, first of all, I haven't seen people since March.
Yeah.
Speaking of not seeing people since March, I've also forgotten everyone's name.
Yeah.
As we were discussing earlier.
Yeah, you forgot someone's name.
I literally, I went hiking, and it was we're on the hiking trail, and someone recognized me. Mm-hmm. And they're like, oh my gosh, it's you. They're like, they're Lyndon. I'm like, yeah, that's my name. And then we keep going, and someone's like, who was that? I'm like, I don't know.
Literally not. So you don't actually know who they were.
Well, I could I was like, this when they looked at me, I could see that they recognized me.
Yeah. Which
triggers something in my brain that I'm just like, I must know this person. And then later, then I have to look up on Facebook, and I'm like, yes.
Did you recognize their face though?
Yeah.
You knew that you knew them.
Yeah.
Not their name.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's just oof. It's this COVID is real hard.
It's
because that's someone I hadn't talked to in years.
Yeah.
But then there's people that you haven't seen since March, and it's all just starting to go away.
Yeah, I was trying to think of the last thing I was trying to think of was the pill Excedrin. I was on a date with someone, and I don't know why we were talking about this, but Excedrin is this very powerful, I think it's an aspirin. It's a very powerful dose of aspirin. It has a lot of caffeine in it too. that they sell in the United States. They don't sell it in Canada anymore. I think it's because it's too strong. And I was trying to think of that, so I had to like ask my mom. But yeah, it's the memory. It goes when you don't think of the thing for a while. It does go, Lyndon.
Now I've already forgotten what we were talking about.
Who are we?
Turtle blood enemas.
Turtle blood.
Forgetting people because of COVID.
Forgetting
what we were talking
occult
about.
Magic,
The Mandalorian.
The Hill Mandalorian. That's right.
Star Wars. The last time someone like really complimented our podcast was the Star Wars episode.
Oh.
They like loved the hot takes on and the breakdowns of Star Wars.
Should we just like skip? Should we just do a Star Wars podcast? I think we do already.
Yeah, remember
it's
when
called the Mission Story.
Remember when we like naturally transitioned one episode? The last episode, right?
Yeah.
We had to like cut it into two because we ended up spending like 90 minutes on Star Wars.
On the Star Wars, yeah. Should we do that this time? Maybe like before we cut to Star Wars, should we do that again? Sort of like make it a double episode. It's gonna
double the views.
Yeah, I was gonna say if we want to hit 10,000, and it is an arbitrary number, and it really is meaningless, but
means something to me
and to me. What else should we talk about before? Is there anything else we need to cover?
I was thinking about that.
General cons. Oh, here's one. I'm 31 now. I don't think we've talked.
I have not. Yeah, right. Yeah, your birthday is in September.
I have two things.
Like actually. I said, I haven't seen you since like summer.
Yeah.
Well, I have seen you since summer. We haven't done a podcast since.
I think it was like June or July or something like that. Since before
I'm
we
pretty
started.
sure we did one in August.
I think it was when I was first starting to get into like making more sketches.
So have we done a episode since I started my practicum?
I don't think so.
Because I feel like I would have.
When was that? I guess we can just
end
look
of
at
August.
Whenever the last episode, we can just
end
look
of
at
August. Because I feel like I would have felt obligated to tell everyone about histology.
Yeah,
I'm sure I did.
Let's take a look here. Home profile.
Why would we have talked about Star Wars for so long?
Yeah, what was the thing?
Something triggered it.
Yeah, what is there new? Maybe the Mandalorian.
Well, no, the Mandalorian is new now.
But like the upcoming. I know we were talking about a lot of like what if scenarios, and we should probably do that again here.
I know.
Okay, hold on. That was when did this come out? This came out on
People are losing their minds. They're like looking. They're like, it came out on blah 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 blah. And we can't even look that up that fast.
Star Wars, September 17th.
September. I get
What a meta thing right now.
Actually, it's the past. Anyways,
it's an episode within an episode.
Right
we'll just
now.
listen to this now.
After Lyndon and I had recorded this.
Okay, this is weird. Let's.
Okay. So September. Wait, September 17th?
I don't know if that. Let me just check. How do you check like? Go
How
to
do we
initial
check
stories.
anything?
How do I check what? I want to see when I did this. Maybe I'm in the wrong app. Maybe I need to go to the other one. People are gonna love this.
We're gonna have to cut all this out. So we sit here.
When did this? Okay.
All right, because I'm looking at the Instagram.
So
The
this
Instagram was
one-
September 17th.
Yeah, I guess it was September 17th. So I guess not that long ago. A month ago.
Yeah.
I guess we're crazy. What are we talking about? It was like last month.
6 weeks ago.
But even still,
That's our normal schedule.
Yes, it is.
We're sitting over here like, sorry, it's been so long.
It's been 10 months. No, it's been a month. So
It's been our usual 6-week break.
we need
Apologies.
a transfer to get new content, I guess. But you've been a busy boy with your stuff, and I've turned 31, and
That's right. How does that make you feel?
it's interesting. I haven't really transitioned yet to the next ward, whatever that is supposed to be.
Family war.
Family or the mid singles. I haven't been to
you
mid
had to
singles.
That's right. We got to break down the pros and cons.
What decision do I make here?
Yeah. Who do you give the rose to?
Who do
The creepy mid-singles ward. That's
the dark mirror reflection of
Yeah.
things to come in the mid-singles war.
where, all the people.
The ghost of Christmas yet to come.
Yeah. Yeah,
The
mid-single.
specter of death.
I was about to just like ream into mid-singles, and I was just like, 18 months away from that.
Yeah.
So I'm just like, yeah, all those weirdos and mid-singles couldn't find someone to love them.
Yeah, and that's me.
And, yeah, I was 2 finger snaps away from that.
Or maybe I wouldn't let someone love me.
Yeah.
Maybe that's my problem.
It's just as bad.
Yeah, I'm a bad man.
Probably even worse.
What's okay? I'm honestly leaning towards mid-singles.
I never went. I only got reports from a friend of the podcast, Jeff Bennett.
Okay.
Another man who
Glowing reviews or what?
another man who would never let someone love him or let himself love someone.
Right.
Jeff, if you're listening to this.
He's too handsome.
Yeah, isn't he?
He's too handsome, therefore
And have you seen his quads?
they're amazing.
It's like,
They're like a table. I want to eat dinner off them.
I was like, did Michelangelo sculpt those quads?
His back is like a map of the United States.
He
It's
could
so
could
wide.
run forever.
He can run forever.
His legs would never get tired.
His jaw is like someone took a
protractor
a
to it.
protractor, like a triangle, like a 90-degree, and just like gink gink.
Yeah.
Him and Robert Pattinson are best friends because their jaws are so square.
Yeah. So I know he was in mid-singles. Yeah, that's where he kept his records. But then he played basketball for our family ward.
I see.
That was back in January before the itty bitty vitty.
Committee.
Yeah, so I know he was there. And I think he might have said it was pretty slim pickings
Okay.
for the women folk. But
here's the weird thing.
is that what you go to church? Well, if you go to mid-singles,
That's literally what you're going for.
It's a meat market.
So maybe like not records there.
Put your records in
The family ward and then just go to the mid-singles.
because then the family ward is going to be like, now we have this like project.
No, I don't. I won't be a project.
They're going to be like, do we have to give him a calling?
I'll say no. You don't have to.
They're going to be like, now is he supposed to minister to people?
No, it's
They're
okay.
like, but we can't trust him.
I'll minister. He's not married.
He's not married, so
Yeah.
it's like, what's wrong with him? We
Plus-
can't trust him.
And honestly, I think I would refuse callings to do with like kids. Like kids. Or
They wouldn't even
scouts
dare
or-
ask you.
They might. That's what they do, man. They take the single that was my teacher growing up in it was like this guy who had aged out, and now he was like our teacher, our Sunday school teacher, and he literally we would just sit in class, and he brought like a taser. I think I might have brought this up one. He brought a taser. He brought like all these like knives and stuff, and he was a cool dude, and he made church fun. So maybe I can be that to these young people, but also I want to refuse those callings because of the liability. It's like I don't want to be, these kids these days.
You're like, I don't want to tase a kid,
and then
and then
they
he
come
pees his
back.
pants,
Yeah, now I'm a
and now I'm
criminal.
in jail.
Now I can't go within 30 yards of a playground. I don't want that.
The playground zone limit for me is 0 kilometers an hour.
I think it's just
Can't
like,
even go through them.
It's like stay away from these liability things.
And then they're going to take your gun license away.
Yeah. Did I tell you that was my other thing I was going to say is that I think my thing got processed. My visa got charged with the charge of,
From like Nova Scotia, or
the
New
cost
Brunswick
of,
or
it was like
wherever.
Ottawa.
Okay, yeah.
And I don't know if maybe I got scammed. But it was RCMP Ottawa. So I imagine it's like they were looking at it. Or I got scammed. I don't know.
Hard to say.
Either way,
So
I
that's
think
a
it
good
means the
thing.
gun thing is happening.
It's on its way.
Maybe they'll talk to my parents, ask me if I'm unfit to have.
Wait, who are your references?
My parents. Literally just like my parents.
You can't do that.
Yeah, I did.
It has to be like non-immediate family.
No, it doesn't.
Really?
I swear I did I looked at the rules.
I know for the photo, it could be your parents, but like the references?
I swear, I looked over it multiple times, and I swear it fits the criteria. But I could be wrong. I might have it right here, actually. Hold on.
I feel like that is going to be like rejected. That it's like, immediate family members could be used as photo references to say that that is a picture of you. But like the little character reference had to be like people you've known for like 2 years or something that aren't immediate family members.
You may be right.
I mean, you should know. I'm pretty sure you were like a reference for me.
You may be right, but I also...
Or maybe you were my reference for my passport. I don't know.
I swear there was nothing...
I feel like you're going to use your parents, and the RCMP are going to like demand you get new references. Or maybe they won't care. They'll give Clint a call, and he'll be like, that guy? He once killed a mouse with a hammer. You want to give that guy a gun?
Unprovoked. Yeah, that's
His grandma was screaming for him to stop.
It was her favorite mouse. My honest, if they do end up calling my parents and using them, I think the big obstacle is going to be they just won't answer the phone. I think that's going to be the biggest thing. Is like they just won't be able to get a hold of them because they're like retired and living their best life. Like my dad's all about woodworking now, so he's just
really?
spends all day in the garage making crates, little mini log cabins, that sort of thing.
Really?
Yeah, that's his life now.
That must be very relaxing for him.
I guess so. I think he's just a guy who is so hyper productive and has to be producing something.
Like he's retired. He doesn't have a job anymore?
He does not have a job anymore, yeah. He, not since, I think COVID, I can't remember when.
Did COVID force him into retirement?
Well, he's, I think he's ready
Get him on the horn.
I think he's ready for retirement. It's not the question of that. I think it's just like, it's a function of the economy in Alberta and in Calgary and everything. And
so his only work now is like miniature log cabins.
yeah, and he made a crate. I tried to sell the crate on Facebook Marketplace. Nobody seemed to want it for the price I was selling it at.
You're like artisanal wood crate.
I was like $100. Everyone's like, nope.
Like, no.
A crate? Yeah,
You could put stuff in it.
Yeah.
Decorative.
You've really scared me about the gun thing. I thought...
Hey.
I looked over because I thought the same thing.
You're probably right. I remember I gave Braden the gears when he told me like who he was using as references. I was like, you can't do that. He's like, sure I can.
You've scared me, but I swear to you, I double, triple, quadruple checked, and because obviously it is like you can't just use your parents. But I was like, oh, maybe you can, but maybe I'm wrong. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. And maybe they changed it because it was like getting too hard for
people to get guns.
Where it's like, or like they had to like get these weird references that like didn't make sense.
Well, it's
one of those things where it's like, who would be a better reference than your parents?
Right, yeah.
Unless your parents are, like, why would your parents be in on...
Well, here's the thing. If they really didn't want me to have a gun, they could very easily tell the RCMP one thing and tell me, like, I can't believe it. We said you should have it. And then, like, it could,
Because it's like, you can't fabricate your parents, but if you're like... They could like pay off Joe Blow.
Yeah.
They're like, yeah, I've known this guy 2 years. Yeah, he gave me $20.
They could say to the RCMP, listen, he is not stable and he should not have a gun. Then to me be like, we said you were a glowing citizen. And I'm not going to know the difference unless I'm like there with them while they're talking to them, which I'm not.
I haven't bugged their phones. I'm not like psycho.
It's not like I have specialized equipment that I had to order away for to listen to everything they're doing.
You're like, I know that my dad spends all his time in his woodworking shop because the GPS I installed on his car doesn't go anywhere except to the lumber store.
Also, the fact that his, the power usage in the garage is very high. And yes, I am tracking their power usage.
Yeah.
So
naturally.
I think it's okay. Knowing myself, I was so careful filling out that form, and I think it adhered to whatever the thing was. You've scared me.
Good. You gotta get.
Do you get notified if you're rejected?
Yeah.
Okay.
I assume so.
Okay.
But the fact that they processed your credit card is a good sign.
Yeah.
It means they've looked at it.
Yes.
The process is moving along.
So what did you think of so I don't know, I guess what do you think? Do I go to the young mid singles or do I go to the family ward? Where do I put my records?
Put your records in the family ward.
Okay.
Because that's like the end goal.
Yeah.
You know, it's like dress for the job you want.
Okay.
Put your records in the ward you want.
Yeah.
Which is the family ward. And go visit the old mid singles.
Yeah.
As like a warning. As like a precautionary tale. To be like, hey, this could be me.
But maybe they're having a fun time.
Yeah, well, go to their activities. I mean, they probably don't even have activities. Find yourself, okay, as I always say, because I covered an adult singles ward, it's just the young divorcees come in, they match up, and they leave.
Right.
It's an institution for getting divorced Latter-day Saints remarried.
Yeah.
So find yourself a recently divorced woman and show her what eternal life can be like.
Okay. That's my goal.
But don't hang out there like it's your home. Because it ain't your home.
It's not my home.
It's an institution to get people out of there.
You know, I went on a date. So I went to a mid-singles thing, and I went on a date with this one woman. And she was, like, divorced. She had maybe 6 kids.
Maybe?
Maybe more. Maybe 8. I honestly don't remember. But it was
That's
at least 6, maybe 8.
That's a lot of kids.
Yeah, and so she was like a very beautiful woman, though, and very much a woman. You know, she was like very like she was.
It's a far cry from your usual demographic in YSA.
Yeah, like she had a career. You know, she had a career. She knew what she wanted and everything. And anyway,
and you're like, I'm used to dating 18, 19-year-olds.
We end the date, and she's like. This is like a weird story to tell, but I'll just tell it anyway.
Here we are.
We end the date. She's like, you know what? Why don't we just like kiss to see if we have like chemistry? And I was like, okay. So we kiss, and it was like a nice kiss. And then I never hear from her again.
No chemistry.
I guess not. No, actually, no, that wasn't what it was. She was like in sales. This is what it was. She was in sales, and she was like, hey, why don't I like talk you through like our process? And I was like, no, I don't think so. How horrible would that be to be like connected in a professional way with someone that you're trying, you know, it's bad to mix those two things.
She wasn't dating, she was working.
She was working. And I was like, no, I'm just not interested. And she was like being like pushy with like the work with the selling stuff. And I was like, I'm just not interested. And she was sort of like got upset. So anyway,
but you kissed her at the end of the night. You gave the milk away for free.
Yeah. Well,
they're never going to buy the cow if you give the milk away for free.
Damn it. It's my fault. Anyway, I saw that she's married now. That's what kind of the point of that. And I was like, mid-singles works.
Yeah.
So I was happy to see that.
She's married now.
It actually was one of the married things where I was like, you know, seeing someone you know get married. I was like, that's nice. I like that. I was happy to see that. So, okay, that's my, I guess, family ward, and I'll visit the mid-singles, okay?
Well, you know, write in, listeners.
What should I do?
Yeah. So maybe we've come to that conclusion, but if enough listeners of the podcast write in...
Vote.
Vote. Can you set up polls on Instagram?
You can, yeah. I'll do whatever.
I think it'd be too sad to see, like, 4 people vote.
Yeah.
It's going to be like too depressing.
Way too depressing. So I'll just make my own decisions, I guess. But I would like to hear if anybody does have thoughts on that, if you do. Whoa, what a good episode. Okay, so this is the second time I screwed this up. So Lyndon, you have to tell.
Technical difficulties.
So where we left off was that I had just told an awkward story where I kissed a woman and now she's married and she tried to sell me things and it kind of put a damper on our, I could be married, but I'm not. And it's because I didn't buy whatever this date was selling me. And that's my fault.
Well, it's because life is a test.
Yeah.
She was testing you.
Mm-hmm.
That if you were willing to buy what she was selling,
Yeah.
you were willing to buy what she was selling. Selling in life.
Which is...
Because life's a mission.
Yes. Okay. And that's where we needed to get to. And the rest of this is a Star Wars episode. So enjoy.